Happy New Year and happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of 8-Bits version 2.0 here on January 10, 2014. I'm DJ Wheat, joined as always by itmeJP. And this week, once again, coming a regular here, we've got Jeff Green joining us at
Happy New Year
on Twitter. Happy New Year, man. How are you? How was? I got to hear all about JP's New Year experience, and I shared mine. So drop it on us. How was your New Year experience?
It was pretty good. I spent it with a whole bunch of drunk French people. So if you can maybe fill it in with your own imagination. There was a lot of wine, a lot of talking. And we played a lot of games. We played a lot of board games.
Don't say Cards Against Humanity.
No, we didn't do that because there were kids and family members there. So
that seems to be like the number one played game by people that I know for New Year's.
I'll tell you something funny though. We rotated amongst a bunch of homes, okay? And when we got to the last home where we were having the dessert, this was like before midnight. There were a bunch of teenage girls there, like young teenage girls, like 12, 13, 14, around that age. And they were all sitting in a circle in the living room playing a game. And all the adults, we all came in. They were already there playing a game. We walked in, and I saw them playing, and I could see that the cards were black and white. And I walked up, and I said, "Are you guys playing Cards Against Humanity?" And they, like, sheepishly go, "Yeah." And I walked over, and I said, I busted them. I didn't really mean to. It wasn't my intention to stop the game, but I went over to the mom of the house, and I was like, "Do you know what these guys are playing here?" And I told them, and she said, "Well, I don't know what that is. What is that?" So I described it, and then she, walked over there, and a minute later, the game was over.
They're in high school. Bigger, blacker dick. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. They're in high school, my daughter just said, but freshmen, so.
Yeah.
That's still a little too young.
It's probably. I'm sure they thought it was awesome, but you're probably right. Maybe
I was the big jerk of the New Year's party. Basically,
you were the Grinch.
I was the man. Yeah, I'm the man. When did that happen? I live in Berkeley.
Good job.
By the way, Marcus, your beard is it's full on like winter Santa now.
Yeah, I mean, you should have seen it right before Christmas because I was holding out and I was like dropping all these hints on my wife that she needed to get me a clipper, and she did, and
awesome.
But I kind of like it, so Grizzly.
Is this just a winter look, or is this gonna stay?
I don't know. I find it really humorous when I wear out my my sort of greenish army jackets and people are like, "Oh, it's like a homeless vet off of this street," right. And I don't know. So it's just more fun and a little bit of change, I guess. So
I enjoy it while you can. I don't know if you're gonna go gray or not. I don't know, but since I sorta did, well, not sorta, you can see it there, but the beard is now gray.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I can't own that yet. I got to be a lot older before I can own a gray beard.
Sure. I've definitely got some peppering going on there. So, but nothing. Nothing much. So.
You should go with that thin stripe, Jeff, right down the middle, right here on the chin. Yeah.
The Frank Zappa thing.
Yeah.
The strip.
That worked.
Strip.
And the other great part about my holidays was I got both consoles. So I picked up the Xbox One and the PS4.
Nice.
They were basically holiday gifts to myself. They weren't, I didn't get them.
How that goes.
But the PlayStation 4, I had to go through. Well, I went through one. I had to get a second one because I got the blue light of death.
Oh, really?
I did indeed.
Like right when you turned it on, or?
I never got it to turn on. Yeah, I mean, I turned power on, but I never got a signal, ever.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't even go into safe mode, and apparently it was an issue for a lot of or a small percentage of new PS4s. So that sucked. I had to spend Christmas Eve in the return line at Best Buy with all the other schmucks.
Oh no.
Yeah, an unmerry Christmas.
Sucks. That
yeah.
sucks.
So then
you didn't have to send it in.
I did not.
Okay, that's good.
I called up. Yeah, I ordered it online through Best Buy. It came busted, I was upset. I called them on, I called their customer service, and they said just bring it to the local Best Buy, which I did. And of course, they could not replace it on the spot because it was Christmas Eve and they didn't have any. So I just took the money and then ordered it from Amazon. And Amazon, as usual, was amazing because a thing came up. I'm going to have them in stock January 8th, but go ahead and pre-order now. So I did that. And then I got it like 2 days later. I actually got it. They were like, never mind. Actually, we have some, and here's yours, and you're getting it in 2 days.
Nice.
So, as usual, Amazon comes through.
It's true.
Yeah,
they tend to do that.
That was my holiday. Drunk French people, busting teenagers, and new consoles.
Awesome. It sounds like you definitely had your fill.
I did.
Had your fill. Well, I mean, why don't we just transition right from that into the obvious, which is what we're actually playing right now. I'm going to guess that you're going to be dropping some next gen titles on us if you picked up both of the new consoles.
I am indeed.
Yeah. So why don't you kick it off?
Should I just? All right.
Why not?
Well, okay, sure. Well, I don't work for them anymore, so I don't have to say this, but I will say that I picked up Peggle 2 right away. Pretty damn good. The music is awesome in that game. The gameplay is Peggle, so it's still great. There's no local multiplayer, which is mind-boggling to me. I can say this as an ex-PopCap person, and I'm hoping that they patch it soon, because Peggle was totally made for two people to be next to each other, and you go, they go, you go, they go.
Right.
It's like playing pinball. So hopefully they'll add that in. Otherwise, other than that, great game. Let's see. The only other thing on the Xbox One I'm playing is Battlefield 4, actually. Also from my
ex-employer. And it's working for you?
You know what? I have not had one problem yet.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I just started playing it 3 days ago. Okay, so maybe it's been patched or something. I haven't been following what's been going on, to be honest. So I know from basic internet rumbling that it has not been in good shape. Maybe I'm just getting lucky. But yeah. I played a whole bunch of multiplayer yesterday and the day before, and I didn't even. If I hadn't been told there were problems, I wouldn't have known. So anyway, so the connection hasn't been a problem. My playing ability, though, that's a big problem because it's been a long time since I played a Battlefield multiplayer, and my skills have seriously deteriorated. No big surprise to me, though. I do. My experience with Battlefield is sort of the same as it's always been with that franchise, which is I still know how to rack up a lot of points by actually doing the things you're supposed to do in that game, which is getting the control points, right? Like so many people don't even bother with that and just get involved in the fighting. So I always end up, not always, but I can get like midway in the final scoreboard basically just from capturing control points, even though my death kill ratio is like 123, something like that, like every time. So Battlefield, I've been playing that. Let's see, what else did I play? Assassin's Creed 4, I've been playing on the PS4. That looks beautiful. To me, that's been the game that has shown me next gen graphics and what they're going to be able to do. That's the one. That and Resogun, actually, which is also super cool game.
Did you pick up Killzone or no?
Not yet.
Okay.
Should I?
It's not a great game, but it looks pretty.
Yeah, that's it. It looks amazing, but honestly, the game is very shallow.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't do it.
I mean, if you already have Battlefield 4, the multiplayer in Killzone is not the best.
Yeah.
And you actually play. They have like a 70 FOV on Killzone. It drives me insane because you can't like. The multiplayer is very different from Battlefield 4, I guess is the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. In the worst possible ways, at least for me.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
But it looks pretty.
Yeah, so I guess to sum up my experience with the two consoles, gaming wise or graphics wise, I'm more impressed with the PS4. the thing I'm most addicted to on the Xbox One, actually, honestly, is the voice control. I hate to say it, but it's a gimmick that's like totally working for me. Even just in the stuff like watching TV and watching Netflix and stuff.
See, I'm the same way.
And I really did not think I'd be into that. I thought
I'm like
We
the
got
one
one too, and he
guy
hates it.
who just
You are
like,
the one
I'm
guy.
just
Yeah.
I
understand.
yeah, I don't
do,
know.
I do.
I feel like it makes logical sense with the future, and I was just talking about how like I did this ranking of my favorite voice, you know, sort of where I feel like everyone ranks, and I definitely think that Xbox's voice capabilities are, you know, number 2, right underneath everything that I've ever experienced in the Android, because the Google stuff is just like instant. But God, the Xbox stuff is so responsive. I'm just like, that's neat, but I can't use it. I don't know.
I hear you. I think the reason I'm using it is because I find a lot of the actual interface of the Xbox One kind of impenetrable, honestly. Like there's just some boneheaded things in there that I don't get why they did it. Like everything just feels a little bit harder to me on Xbox now to figure out.
Yeah,
even the
that's
most
true.
basic things. You know, it took me like way more time than it should have just to figure out how to add a freaking friend. You know, it was ridiculous. Like all the little things like that are like, I feel like I'm going through more menus or whatever. So the voice is actually just made that part easier for me. So that's like a good and bad. Like the good is that the voice works, but the bad is I felt like I had to use the voice because I couldn't figure out how to use their freaking interface.
Exactly. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
That it's all that Windows 8 Metro stuff too that just it's just menus under menus under menus under menus. That's all
I don't
it is.
understand how you blow that. I mean, here you have Xbox Live, which was just so clearly the superior platform in terms of user interactivity and community, and they just like broke what was already fixed.
Well,
you know?
in terms of a gaming machine, but as they move to this entertainment super center, that's where it's like, well, we have to have this interface in order for it to be effective.
Do you use it with cable, by the way, Jeff? Do you have?
I do, and that's the part that's like working really great. Honestly, you know,
I've heard that it's a one-up compared to every cable provider's GUI out there. Like it's just so much better.
Well, I'll tell you though, I have DirecTV, and once I get into the TV through the Xbox, I then do use my DirecTV remote.
Real? Oh, okay.
I like the DirecTV interface, and I'm just used to it.
Gotcha.
And I couldn't figure out on the Xbox how to do things like program the DVR. I don't even know if it's possible. If it is,
I don't know.
I don't know how to do it. So anyway, a mixed bag on both really, and of course the biggest complaint, really, which I knew going into it, so it's my own fault, is lack of titles. Right?
Yep.
We're all just waiting.
I haven't turned mine on since like the beginning of December. Both systems.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the game I'm playing the most, like by far, is Dark Souls. So so it's on the PC. So I am so sucked into that game. It's incredible. And I've been streaming it all, so a lot of people have been following my adventures. But that game just blows me away how great it is, and I can't wait for the sequel now.
Hell yeah!
And I went into it sort of as a joke. Like I thought it would just be funny to play the game that everyone says is the hardest game in the world, knowing I'm over 50 and my skills have deteriorated. So I did it basically for comic relief. But then I accidentally found out that I was really into it, and that actually the game is so good and it's so fair in terms of its difficulty that I could handle it. That it really isn't about Twitch skills per se. I mean, certainly they're in there.
Right.
But it's so much about patience and strategy.
Absolutely.
And using your brain to figure it out, Just a beautifully designed game. I have not rage quit once in this game. No, I haven't even come close to rage quitting. I've been upset. I've been mad. I've been mad at myself, but I never was like, fuck this game ever.
It gives you that. It just gives you that. Like, no, this game will not beat me. I will beat it.
Yeah.
And I will go back. And it's weird.
You get more determined because you feel like every mistake you make is yours. You know that the game was sort of telling you what you were supposed to do, and you just didn't do it, or you weren't thinking for that 1 minute. Like you were doing while you were thinking, and then whatever, you let your mind wander, you looked at your iPhone or whatever it is, and now you're dead. And you know, I noticed I'm only like 3 hours into Assassin's Creed 4, which I'm digging a lot, I have to say. But in those 3 hours alone, I've gotten more mad at the game than I have in like 90 hours of not even exaggerating. Yeah, like, because you know, the responsiveness of the controls or something, or he jumps onto the side of a wall instead of onto the roof, or
you have to follow a guy and try to listen to him.
That's the worst thing.
Following. Yeah.
Why are those missions still in the fucking game? I hate them so much. We had this discussion when it first came out, when we were playing on the PS4, and I played like 2 hours of it yesterday on the PC, and it's still the same fucking eavesdrop missions.
Yep.
That turn into chase this guy.
I'm so glad you guys agree.
They're just so bad.
Yeah. The follow-up, that's going to be the death of me. I'm going to end up quitting the game because of those missions.
The funny thing is that Assassin's Creed for me has never been a go-to franchise. I played 1, I played 2, and then I'm sort of like, I'm Assassin's Creeded out. But as it stands, I was really interested in all the ship aspects of Assassin's Creed. The problem is the moment that I had to do any bullshit outside of the realm of what I found fun, I was immediately like, why? It's not, I can't do it.
And then there was a break in like the story where after those initial follow missions that we played through, they never really popped up until like yesterday when I got back into the main story. It was the first thing that I did for this, and I was just so frustrated.
Yeah,
you had to like keep up with this like other cohorts of yours, and like just so fucking annoying. I
get the feeling that if I keep going in this game, I'm probably just going to do all the like side stuff and the OCD collecting stuff, and not the actual missions.
And there's a ton of that.
There's a ton.
The best part about that game is, and I think this is said 1,000 times, but it's just the ship combat. Like that's exactly what I jumped into yesterday right away, and it was fighting these ships, and then it was raiding like this fortress that existed. That then you can go and attack and eventually claim, and you get a couple of different things for doing that. But that's the best part of the game.
That sounds super fun. Yeah, I'm not there yet. I'm still just doing all the. Probably it's still introductory stuff. I'm just getting all set up. But yeah, I had to follow this dude, and it, like the 5th or 6th time I failed, I quit the game. I went back to Resogun.
Like JP said, once you get past that, you get to all the ship stuff. It really picks up quite a bit.
The one thing about that game that interests me is the actual story, and it's because I've heard they take it in some really cool ways, like cool places. From people like, I think Vinny on Giant Bomb's been saying that. A lot of the reviews have said that it takes it to a very interesting place for that franchise, and kind of like flips the game on its head, which the franchise needed 100% because it was getting very stale after the 8 games or something that have been out in it.
Well, maybe I'll just read the Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Summary.
You could totally do that as well.
And go on to a more fun game.
Yeah, exactly. Get to the ship combat though. That's the best part.
Okay, I'll hang in for that.
So, any other news?
That's basically it. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm happy I have the machines though. I don't regret that I have them, and it's been fun playing around with both. And I think it's clear they're gonna be great, right? I mean, it's just we just gotta wait.
Did you try any of the streaming from the PS4?
I have not yet. I was going to stream Resogun, and I just didn't. But I understand it's real easy to do, huh?
Yeah, it's just press a button. I mean, you have to set your account up, right? But aside from that, it works. So
very much genius that they did that. Actually, I read right before we start recording here that I guess Microsoft announced that it's still months away for the Xbox. I just read that.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably familiar, Jeff, and maybe we educate the listening audience if they don't know. But like, there's 2 companies out there right now that are somewhat notorious for sort of the qualification of programs or apps or downloads or whatever through their systems. And one is Apple, and the other one is fucking Microsoft. And you know, I think that has, you know, not only probably like delayed that a little bit, but a lot of stuff that people are expecting to have an experience on the Xbox One. It's something that even a lot of the independent developers have said it's been a nightmare for them. And you know, I think in one of our articles later, we're going to talk a little bit about even the indie developers talk about how the Apple stuff is a pain in the ass. But you know, that's like partially it. They do things a little bit differently. I think as a result, they do hardly have any issues because of their qualification process, but it's not very liked by many.
Yeah. What the experience I've had with Apple, which, you know, most of any details I can't really talk about, but what I witnessed from afar was so Byzantine and so opaque in terms of like how things work, you know. What they tell you can do and when you can do it and when your app is going to go live and all these things and all these just incredibly stringent rules. Yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah,
I could tell a story or two, but I better like run it by a lawyer first.
Yeah, it can get a little. Well, I mean, and so the other part of that news that Jeff, and it's interesting you bring it up because at CES, Sony is like, you know, 20% of the Twitch traffic is from the PS4, and they're all, you know, doing the dance. And Microsoft has got to be over there going, you know, we're primarily a U.S. audience too, and that is big when it comes to Twitch.
Right.
So,
well, they've seen the numbers on the 360 too.
Yeah, it's an incredible missed opportunity. I mean, I don't know why or where. Maybe there's all sorts of logical, practical, real reasons that it couldn't have happened at launch, but it's a bummer for them that it didn't. Because it's a clear advantage for Sony right now, and having it be months away still. I mean, maybe it's not that much of a catastrophe since there's not many games to play anyway, but I would certainly think that by Titanfall, if it's not active by Titanfall, they're blowing it, because if any game sounds like, I mean, I haven't played Titanfall, but it seems like that would be ideal for some Twitch streaming.
Yep.
right.
And they've got the exclusive, so they would just own that. They would own Titanfall streaming. So.
Yep. Otherwise, everyone's just going to stream it on the PC. They don't necessarily want that either. So.
Yeah. Right.
All right. So I would like to take a moment to talk about JP's dissertation on Bravely Default last week. And
I haven't touched it since then. By the way.
Oh my gosh, JP, you didn't do this game justice, JP.
No, I played it for 5 minutes.
Oh
man.
my God, the game is so fucking good. Like, okay, let's stop for a second. First off, Bravely Default is a Nintendo 3DS game by Square Enix, and everyone's been wanting Square to like make that perfect Square game that they've been waiting for a while, and I think that Bravely Default might be it.
Wow.
So first off, so they released a demo, and the demo is unique in that it really lacks any sort of story at all. It's just an introduction to the combat system, the job system, and it introduces a bunch of stuff that's not even in the game. And then for as much as you complete, it rewards you in the full game for, you know, going through and clearing this area and rebuilding the town and beating this boss. So, like, I've probably earned, you know, just a ton of starting gear for my groups when I go in. But you know, JP was talking about the Bravely and the default and the way this combat system works, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to give you.
It at all
I'm going to give you the
minutes.
quick breakdown. Okay.
Okay.
It's basically the Bravely default system. So, a Brave is an activation by a character that allows them to do multiple moves in a single round. A default is a guard. It's like the same action as a guard, but it builds your Brave meter. It gives you what they call a BP. So your max BP is 3. But so people are like, oh my God, that sounds so crazy. Well, imagine this. If you've played like the later generation Final Fantasy games, you're probably familiar with like, you know, the active attack bar where like based off your speed, it fills up and now it's your turn to go. Well, it's all turn-based like old school Final Fantasies. There is still speed factor that goes into it, but then the BP is accumulated and used up over each round. So if you build up to 3 brave points by guarding, then you can like unleash a magical attack 3 times, or attack 3 times, or heal and then attack, or use an item and attack and then heal, which makes it really great in terms of strategy and the way it works. But the graphics are great. The system is awesome. The job system is really good so far. It looks like there's probably about 25 jobs that aren't in the demo, so that's pretty exciting. But I would say anyone who's interested in Square games, anyone who's interested in an RPG for the DS, like, this game is incredible. I've already easily sunk 12 hours into it. My guys are like level 18, and I've almost maxed out jobs on all my guys. It's really good. So
that sounds good. Does it use the 3D in a good way, or does it matter? Or?
I feel like these guys are actually getting better and better at the 3D. Like, JP will tell you, they do some cool stuff with the city as it scales in and out. But even the menus and the way that different things work in the battle system, I think it's really impressive. Like, these guys are obviously putting thought into into creating menus and creating a game interface that is meant to be in 3D. So that's great.
I may have to do it now that I'm done with Zelda.
It doesn't come out till the demo's free. The demo's free.
Get the demo.
It's all a demo, yeah. Okay. It's actually standalone from the actual full game. So whatever you do in the demo can't be done in the full game. There's a lot of extra stories. And apparently there's like fucking 30 hours worth of stuff in this demo from what people are saying. Granted, maybe those are completionists.
Well, so, I mean, in order to kill the last guy, you're not going to be able to just be like, I'm level 10, I'm going to go do it. The game is scaled in a way where it's like, you need this level to do this. So, yeah, there could potentially be 15 hours. And, of course, you're going to get a big benefit by doing all that because you're going to get rewarded with all this shit. Like, to start with. So, so really well done. I'm really excited.
Might be the place for that.
Yeah, I'm ready for a new Nintendo game. So, I'm in.
Yeah, well, check out the demo. I wish more games did this. Had sort of a, hey, play our stuff and get rewarded for when the full game comes out. So.
It was a good move on their part, it seems. I mean, given that their stock is a little bit down, there's been lots of moaning about the quality of their games and things like that, and they, it seems like a smart move to win a lot of people back, or maybe even get new fans on with a new IP.
I think that's it. I think that people like it's out in Japan, and Japan's already been like, oh, it's great. So yeah, maybe this is something that detracts away from like the remake Final Fantasy VII, and instead is like, make us a Bravely Default sequel, which they've already announced, which is probably another good sign, right? So there you go. But I'm really excited about this game, which does come out February 7th, I believe. So we're still about a month away. Plenty of time to play that demo and unlock all the stuff that you're going to get in the full game. So,
are you going to be unlocking all the stuff, Wheat?
I'm almost done, JP.
Oh man, maybe I should. It just falls into that handheld category where I can't ever finish a game because I just don't like handhelds because I don't go anywhere to use handhelds.
I understand.
But yeah.
Did you finish Zelda? Did you play Zelda?
I have played Zelda. I've done 4 Dark World dungeons, or maybe 3. I think 3. Still have 4 to go or something. Okay. Something like that.
The dungeons aren't that big, so.
No. I mean, that was done on the 3 dungeons were done on one night during Christmas break when I was in San Antonio. Now I haven't touched it since I got back home, so I need to though. I mean, that game, the parts that I played were just pure joy. I was not frustrated at all. I was just enjoying it 100%. I
loved it. That was my game of the year. I loved it.
Yeah. It's smart, man. It's a good game for sure. I just need to play more of it. All this, I haven't actually been playing that many games this week except for DayZ. and it's like crack. It's like playing WoW again for me with the amount of time that I put into it, man. We played last night. We started about 7 o'clock, and I think I finished around 4 a.m.
Oh my god.
And then was up on Skype with two of my other friends who kept playing for another 3 hours or 2 hours. And then the night before, I think I played for like 12 hours straight or something like that. That game's it's just stupid fun, man. That like, here's the pitch on DayZ, and I've done so many different pitches, but here's a brand new pitch.
Okay.
Me and my friend Ryan from one of the roleplay shows were. He was streaming. I don't stream anymore because the stream sniping that happens in that game is very, very annoying, and it's not fun for me. Ryan doesn't care too much about it. So one of the things that happened last night is when Ryan streams, he gets a bunch of his viewers that like find him in the road, and they kind of start like this crew or this gang, and there's like 6 or 7 of them. And eventually we meet up inside of this room, which is in one of the towns. For those that play, it was one of the firehouses in Electro. And we meet up in there. Everyone gets a gun. Everyone's like geared to the teeth. We're all like, we can do whatever we want in the story or in the game. And there's no story in the game. And we're like, all right, let's go to the church because that's the best place to defend. So we go to the church. We're all sitting there in the church. I'm kind of bored because we're all just sitting there staring at this one door in the church where it's the only place people can come in. And I look at Ryan and I shoot Ryan a text because I can't message him on Skype because he's full screen in the game. And I shoot him a text and I say, hey, let's kill everyone in the room in 5 minutes. And Ryan, like, as this is happening, Ryan looks at his phone. He's like, hold on, guys, I got a text. And he reads it. And he's like, all right, JP, whenever you want to do it, just say so. And, like, you see one of the guys in the room start to get a little bit nervous. Like, he starts walking around. He's like, what's going on? And then, like, I take aim on one of the guys, and I'm like, all right, Ryan, shoot now. And then we just kill, like, 6 people that, like, trusted us, and, like, we're trying to be our friends.
We trusted you!
And we just murder them. I end up dying. Ryan ended up dying. I think one guy lives. But then, for the next 2 hours on the server, this church had, like, 10 best geared bodies with, like, all the best gear in the game. And so it became like this hub of people just constantly going to it. And so by the end of the night, there was like 30 or 40 bodies inside of this church of just people constantly going in. And that's the kind of stuff that I just play hours upon hours for, because I love that. Granted, no one trusts me anymore after that terrible job. Like, Ryan didn't even trust me. He wouldn't even try to group up with me because he thought I was going to kill him. But it's the best part. It's the game's... You can't do that in any other game. Like, it just doesn't happen. I don't know any other game where that can happen. And that's all I've played this week is DayZ. I played a little AC4 yesterday, but then I went right back to DayZ afterwards.
So I may have to try this.
Oh, it's a bad game, Jeff. Like, right now, it's a really bad game.
Is it still beta?
It's still very early alpha.
Very beta. Alpha. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The beta's not even like 6 to 9 months away.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But it's already sold like 800. I think it's up to 850,000 copies on Steam since its release.
Insane. That is amazing.
I think they're actually up to even more than that. Dude.
Did they break a million yet?
I look at their page and it says survivors 921,615.
Oh, maybe so. Maybe they broke 900K.
Wow.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised, man.
That is quite an accomplishment.
Yeah,
it really is.
For a game in alpha.
Well, it's also quite an accomplishment because it's the second time people have bought the game. Like, it came out as a mod for Arma.
Right.
And, like, a ton of people bought... Like, Arma 2 was a success from what I can tell. Granted, I don't actually have numbers or anything. But it was a success because of the amount of people that bought it for DayZ. And now he set it as a standalone version, and everyone has bought that as well. So...
Incredible.
A year from now, we'll see where that game ends up, because the stuff that they want to implement into it is just, if they get it all implemented, it's going to be like probably one of my favorite games ever if they get it all in there. But we'll see. They have a long way to go.
I'm so excited to find out if on the day of DayZ release, if JP's like, yes, I'm so excited, or if JP's like, man,
If I'm like
I've just
disgruntled.
played this game for like a fucking 18 months. Like I don't want to spend another damn minute in this game. It'll be interesting to see. I'm thinking no, but who knows?
You know, I had that problem when I was back in the press at Computer Gaming World. We would get early access to all those, to all the MMOs back then, Anarchy Online and all of those. And by the time it would come out, I would be sick of them.
Yeah.
And so then later, with later MMOs, I decided I didn't even want to participate in the beta because I didn't want it wrecked. Yeah. You know, I wanted to be level 1 on day 1 with everybody else.
Right.
Same.
I'm the same way with MMOs, but like, it's so different because there is no leveling system like that. Like, you spawn in the game and you have nothing. All you have is a flashlight and a battery and a t-shirt and jeans, and like you just trash the battery and flashlight right away because it's always daylight right now.
But
in the
without
alpha.
that, I think without that persistence in the world, JP, that's one of the things that doesn't. I think it detracts me.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Someone said you were playing last night. Is that what were you streaming last night?
What?
Everyone was like, Wheat's playing, guys, you got to go group with them. I'm like, I don't think Wheat would be playing.
I was playing StarCraft, dude. Like,
okay.
What? I don't know how you mistake that one. Like, oh my God.
I don't know.
Wheat's totally, yeah.
Like, the other crazy thing that happened too, which this is completely opposite to what I'm normally, like what normally happens. I'm running around in this town. This guy with a gun puts his gun up and he says, "Stop moving." And like in that game, you either stop moving or you're gonna die and just respawn somewhere. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And I like put my hands up in the air, and he's like, "Put them behind your head." So I go like that with my character, and he's like, "What? I just saw someone with an M4. Is he your friend?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know that guy at all." And he's like, Okay. Well, you want to team up against him? And I'm like, "Sure." And this guy, in the next 30 minutes, I found out that he is the nicest player I've ever met in DayZ to date. Just the most gentle soul that it just would not fire a shot on anyone unless they killed his mother or something like that. We found this random guy just like talking to him, and, like trying to get him to join his crew, and I just like took my axe and like hit him in the back of the head. I was like, no, man, we can't. Three's too many in the party. And we kept journeying, and eventually we get stream sniped, and like we get a bunch of fire on us, and they end up killing him. And I didn't have a gun, but he did. So I took his gun and killed the stream sniper. Then I just sat there with like his body in front of me, and I'm like, no. And the best part was that he typed right before he was dying in game. He typed his Steam ID, and I had my viewers. I was streaming at this time. I had my viewers go and get his Steam ID and send it to me. And now we're like really good friends. And this guy was like, "Holy crap, I was on stream!" Like, I can't believe all that stuff. It's just the nicest guy.
That's awesome.
So stuff happens of all types in that game. Most of the time, it's just me being an asshole, but it's okay.
Man,
it's okay.
All right, let me throw a couple more out there. So last week, JP talked about Call as Gunslinger. I picked it up after JP's recommendation for $15. Great $15, well spent. It's awesome. Everything that JP said about the storytelling is like right on plus 10. It's so cool how he's like, "Are you sure that's how it went down, mister?" He's like, now that I think about it, it might have been a little like that. It's just, I'm blown away. It was the voice acting is like just good enough to pass, and I love the art. I love the art, and there's a lot of stuff in the game that just that can let you play through it very quickly that you might not know about the first time. I died from a few of the environmental hazards that you're supposed to use against other people, and I'm like, "Oh, look, I can shoot." Oh, wait, whoops, I'm dead. But it was fun. I'm gonna play the final 3 hours this weekend, but I went through about the first half of it, and it's good.
So you're like on episode 3 or 4?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think there's 8 in that game.
Okay.
Or 7 or 8.
Okay. And I mean, there's like, again, like one of my favorites so far in the storytelling is you're in this canyon and you walk up to this freaking carriage that's getting robbed, right? And all of a sudden, all these guys are attacking you, and he's like, "Yeah," and the Apaches are attacking me. He's like, "Wait a second, I thought you said the Cowboys were attacking. He's like, oh, yeah. The Cowboys were attacking me Apache style. And then they all chase the Cowboys. And then you run away. But, like, as you're running away, you have this, like, really intense chase scene. And, you know, there's bullets whizzing by you. And you have no ammo left. And you're coming up to this ledge. And this Apache corpse, like, falls out of the sky as he's telling the story. And he's like, you know, I rolled up on this Apache that had all this ammo. And it's ridiculous, but it's so awesome how they do it. Highly, highly recommended. Thank you for the suggestion, because it's great.
That's good.
Yeah, good stuff.
I think once you get to the end of that game, I appreciated the story even more so. Because if you like go back and think about all the stuff that he's saying, it makes perfect sense as to what's actually happening.
Sure. And
it's not like it's not a big reveal or something like, oh, I can't believe they did that. Like they don't pull back and it's like Desmond sitting in the Animus or anything crazy like that. It's it's a good game all around. And what do you think of the gunplay? I thought the actual FPS mechanics of it were like some of the best I played in 2013.
I mean, it's nothing special, but it's good enough. Like, it's really good. You know, like, hey, you get rewarded for headshots, and they have a couple of really arcadey type things where it's like, hey, you don't even need to aim, just press that fire button and like watch you headshot 12 guys as you're jumping off of a flaming building. That's great. The dueling is pretty sweet though. Because it adds not only like a multitask, you know, it's funny because the dueling reminds me of landing the plane in the original NES Top Gun. You had to watch your speed, you had to watch your elevation, you had to watch like how like close to the edge you were coming in. And if you didn't have all three of these things perfect, you were going to fail. And it's the same thing between the speed and the focus and then actually reacting. It's a lot of fun. I really liked it. Yeah, so Call of Juarez Gunslinger, big thumbs up, and I'll be finishing it this weekend. So
awesome.
I can see from my Steam list here that I've put 8 hours into it, and I can't remember doing that.
It came out a long time ago.
It did.
It did. Okay,
it was like first quarter 2013, maybe even second.
Maybe that's why. Yeah, I do remember liking it, and I do remember loving the storytelling. Yeah, very funny.
If you said you put 8 hours into it.
Yeah,
that's enough to probably beat it, because I beat it in like 4.5 or 5 maybe. So
okay, well,
probably played through it.
Double it given my skills. So yeah.
Well, I did play it on hard, and hard is not hard.
Yeah.
In fact, I was upset I couldn't select the hardest difficulty.
The opening duels are pretty easy. They get actually pretty, like if you don't get above 90 speed and 90 accuracy marks towards the later duels, you'll just die. And they even do cool stuff too, where you're like, it's like a Mexican standoff. You have like 2 people that you're dueling at once.
Right. That's awesome.
So
I can't
they have a lot of stuff like that.
Can't wait. The last thing for me, and then you guys can finish up, is that during one of my giveaways, every once in a while I do this thing where people earn the ability to basically choose a game that I play for 2 hours. And a guy named Peachy Pixel chose Super Ghouls and Ghosts for the SNES. And if you guys can remember that game, it's quite punishing. But you know, it's as much as I hated every minute of it, I loved every minute at the same time, because you know, God, those types of games back in the day, like I'll tell you what, like that was quality game. Between challenge, between just sort of graphics and what they were doing with it. It's good to revisit that stuff every once in a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, not to harp on Dark Souls too much, but I think that's, you know, I was thinking about it a lot. Like, why was I becoming so obsessed with the game and loving it so much? And I think that's one part of it, is that it does harken back to a time when we were just not as babied as much as we are now through all of these games. I mean, you know, this is not a press A to win game, or, you know, watch 5 minutes of a cutscene and then, you know, now you get to open the door and then the cutscene takes over. I mean, and I'm giving it like a totally obviously over the top example, but even in games that are theoretically somewhat difficult or whatever, what's missing is a sense of exploration and danger. and like what is, like I've been playing Dark Souls on the edge of my seat because literally anything can happen every time you turn a corner, right? I mean, advancing 10 feet in that game is a feat. And I can't remember, it's been years and years since I've played a game where I just really felt scared to actually go forward and know that the game wasn't just going to take care of me, or the game wasn't going to tell me where to go, follow the blue arrow on the ground, whatever. Like you can just get totally lost in that game and be fucked. And it reminds me almost more than anything, which is sort of weird, of the original EverQuest of all things. Because that was an MMO where there was just a constant sense of danger all the time. I don't mean in terms of like the level design or anything like that. Obviously, they're night and day. They don't compare at all. But in EverQuest, every time I logged on, it was like, oh my God, what is going to happen tonight? You know?
Yeah.
Being, kited by other players or wandering into some zone you don't belong in, and you have to do like 20 corpse runs and, that kind of thing, ending your night being a lower level than when you started. That's how Dark Souls feels, Like I had some streams, they're sitting in the archive where like I played for 2 hours and I basically made like no progress. And you could like feel my frustration. I did never rage quit, but I was like, man, I got nowhere. Like,
yeah.
And there's just something about that I miss in video games. I miss, really the sense of danger.
I feel like it's coming back though. Whether it is.
That's true.
I don't necessarily mean this. I mean a combination of the sense of danger, but also the concept of, there's appreciation for really challenging games, and we're going to be designers that takes that and embraces that and runs with it. And the fact that it means that you're not going to sell 15 bazillion copies of your game, but it means you're also going to have probably a pretty loyal and hardcore supporting community, and that might be just as worth. Not everyone's going to be a Call of Duty, right? So if you are the king of challenging games, I think that's another title to hold. But it is interesting to see that that's being embraced yet again, and I like it too.
That's a great point.
I like
that's
it too.
A great point. Yeah, and there are a lot of indie titles. I mean that are based all around that, right? Super Meat Boy. I mean that's old now. But all these games, Spelunky, all these games require Rogue Legacy, require patience and many hours to master, which is great. I think what's particularly interesting to me about Dark Souls is that it's, would you guys call that AAA? It's just like, to me, it feels like the biggest game right now that's doing something this hard.
Dark Souls is like the B movie that's, a cult classic.
Yeah,
to me.
that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
I'm also very interested to see. So you're in I've been watching a little bit of your playthrough. You're in Sin's Fortress right now, which it's kind of like the introduction to the fuckery of Dark Souls, and then you hit Anor Londo, and then it becomes like Dark Souls. Like that is where Anor Londo is actually where probably I would say at least 50% of the people that have played Dark Souls quit. Because not only is it really, 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 really annoying to get to the boss, but the boss is like the first true boss of that game. I feel it's the hardest boss in the game as far as I'm concerned for people to get over.
You are not filling me with confidence.
It's a ton of fun. That's for sure. But like, Sin's Fortress has a lot of those things where just like the pressure plates that it's just like, I can't believe I did. Oh, you fucking kidding me? You just killed me with this random dart. Like, what is that nonsense? Or getting knocked off into the pit below that has like the giant whatever demons they're called. I forgot the name of them.
Yeah, the serpent guys.
Yeah, no. I guess so. The giant marble like obsidian looking guys at the very, very bottom. I don't know if you've fallen and lived because they're all the way down there.
I have not lived. Actually, I've fallen and lived a couple times, except I didn't know I was alive. I assumed I was dead.
Yeah.
So I beat my forehead or something like that, and then looked over in the chat and had people going, "You're alive! You're alive!" But then by that time I was dead.
Yeah,
I'm dead.
Like, I'm dead already.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch this part yet, but did someone tell you where the bonfire was in Sin's Fortress, or did you find it yourself?
Well, it's a little of both. I knew that it was going to be hard to find, is what I knew. I knew that it was going to be hard to find. I did not watch a video. I did not, look on NeoGAF. So when I was running, I don't know if you saw that part of the stream, but I was running. I had no flask left, or I forget.
Yeah.
Anyway, the situation was bad. It was dire. And if I knew if I died, I was going to be all the way back at the beginning. And I was running around up on that rooftop. And I knew it had to be somewhere. And I knew it was somewhere because I could see people going in the chat. I couldn't really look at chat because I was in a panic situation. But out of the corner of my eye, I could see, you're almost there, you're almost there. So I knew it was around. And then I noticed that ledge, and I noticed the break in the ledge, and I noticed that from other areas of the game, and so I just had a suspicion. So I ran there and then pointed my camera down, and I was thinking I was going to jump anyway because I was so afraid I was going to die, and I could see there was a ledge, but I saw the ledge before I saw the bonfire. So I was just going to go for it. And then sure enough, as I'm jumping, you can hear me saying like, is this where the bonfire is? As I'm jumping. and it was. And yeah, oh my God.
That bonfire was like, probably in the entire game, that's the one we were just like, thank God. Because
seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You have to go through.
Yeah, the dude was throwing those boulders with fire on me. I had a knight chasing me. I mean, that's what I mean. That game was terrifying, especially when you've made it all the way through Sins, that level is just brutal. And if you're telling me that this is only like junior level brutal, then yeah.
Anne Orlando, man.
You'll appreciate
the chat got it right. Anne Orlando is the place where dreams go to die, man. It's not. It's the most beautiful environment in the entire game, but it's like so fucked up.
Well, I'll try to report back if and when I ever beat it.
Yeah. You'll eventually I think you'll get through, but you're gonna we'll see what happens.
I do not plan on quitting this game. I don't. I feel like I've hit a wall at least 5 times. At least 5 times I've gotten to a place where it's like, well, this is now harder than I can do. Like, this game's just too hard for me. And then I beat it. Because in every case, it was just a matter of like, okay, I got to step away from the computer right now. It's not happening now. But if I go away and think about it, and think about what was happening to me and where the enemy was and all that, and go back in fresh, I can do it. And there's at least 2 times in these early bosses where I beat them the first time when I went back. Like, they killed me like 10 times in a row. I said, fuck it. I went away, and the next day I just came in and beat it. So... such a good game.
Such a good game. Such a good
It has that effect where now I just want to go play it, but I probably won't.
Any final games, gentlemen?
Nothing for me.
Nothing for me.
I think that that does it for me too. I mean, January is always like what didn't I play in 2013? Let's go at it.
And then it leads into February too, because there's only a couple games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finally finished The Last of Us, so there's that.
Oh, okay.
Which I ended up loving, by the way.
Good. I'm glad. It didn't.
Yeah.
The hype didn't ruin it, basically.
I'll tell you what. It made it disappointing for me in the first few hours, where I just thought there was a whole lot of hand-holding. I was appreciating the storytelling. I was. And the graphics and all of that and the characters, but I was not really appreciating the gaming, especially because I was playing Dark Souls simultaneously. However, it caught up with me. By the time I hit the end, the storytelling was so brutal that it was like enough for me. And I did feel like the gameplay got better too. So really, by the last scene, I was all in. I was like, yep, totally, easily, in my top 3 for sure.
Nice.
Great game.
Awesome.
That's good. Good.
So we don't have you the whole show, is that right?
Believe I have a work call in about 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, why don't we just use this opportunity to let you say some goodbyes, and then we'll take our break, and when we come back, I think we have a couple news items, then we'll open up the phone. So
goodbye.
Where can they find you? Streaming and all that? Yeah.
Twitch TV /Greenspeak. The archive for all those Dark Souls is my YouTube name is Greenspeakachu. That's green speak like talking, and then Achu like Pikachu.
Nice.
That's about it for now.
Okay.
I'll have more to say later. And I hope to see you guys again soon.
Awesome.
I will come back if you'll have me back.
Of course.
Always.
Of course.
I'll try to behave.
All right, definitely. All right, well, Jeff, thank you as always. Appreciate you, even if you could only come on for an hour. Guys, we're going to take our break, but when we come back, a little bit of news and also some open phones. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back with more after this.